So I'm out here with Alec, and Alec, you are the Oregon State University turf grass specialist, right?
That's correct.
So what we're going to be talking about today are some tips for the home gardener for their lawn, and some really simple things that you can find almost in any house to help make your lawn look the best it can. So let's jump right in there.
Okay, so this time of year we're entering perfect growth for cool season grasses in the valley here. We have really good surges in the spring and the fall. And if you haven't noticed, your grass is probably growing so fast that you need to be mowing it at least once a week, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about mowing height.
Okay.
And as we look at the mowing height, we can focus down on the ground here. We've got two different heights right next to each other here. We've got a 1/2 inch height, and then as we walk over here to the left, the grass goes up to 1.5 inches over here. So a typical homeowner in the Willamette Valley has probably got perennial ryegrass,
Okay.
which is what this grass is, and this is a good height for a homeowner, 1.5 inches. So problems associated with lower mowing heights, like over the left here, you see really heavy infestation of annual bluegrass and moss.
Okay, I do see
That's
that.
the moss here, and then the annual bluegrass here. And it's scattered throughout there. And as you go up to the higher height, those populations of annual bluegrass and moss drop way off from the higher mowing height. The grass is doing better. It's got a higher, thicker density. It catches the sunlight, photosynthesizes really well, and it's very healthy at this height.
Okay, now the other thing that I see if we walk back over here, Alec, is a screwdriver. Now, I don't have any equipment in my yard that requires that, so what do you use it for?
Okay, so one of the questions you'll often, or I will often get asked is, how frequently should I be irrigating my lawn? How do I know when the grass needs water? So you need to be checking the soil moisture content. Now, an easy way to do that is use a screwdriver or a pocket knife like this. We're going to come down to the soil. Typically in the Willamette Valley here, we'll have high content of silt and clay soil.
Okay.
So as the soil dries out, it gets harder and harder. And I'm sure you've all come out and tried to dig a hole in the summertime.
Yeah.
It's like a rock.
It's
Okay. So as I push this screwdriver into the soil, if it goes into the soil relatively easy, you have adequate moisture content. If it's like a rock and the screwdriver will not go in there, we need to add water till it loosens up.
So that's a really easy way to figure out if you actually need to water or not.
Right, right. And the other thing that's going to indicate is when you pull that screwdriver out, you're going to look at the surface of it and you'll see moisture on the surface of the screwdriver there.
Perfect.
If it's dry soil, it'll come out, and this will be dry as well.
So now, there's just a couple of other things we're going to talk about, so let's get up, walk over there, and we'll do that, okay?
Okay.
Okay, Alec, now we are over here, and it looks like a very short kitchen going on down here. So what is this third idea? What is this tip for us?
All right, so the third thing here is we're going to focus on some vinegar and some baking soda. Okay, and we're going to use this to get a rough idea of the soil pH.
So I'm going to make an assumption here. If you're going to be testing the soil of your lawn, shouldn't it come from underneath your lawn then, not from a flower bed or something?
That's exactly right. You're going to have different inputs across the different areas of your lawn. So if you want to know the pH underneath the grass, you better test the soil underneath the grass.
Okay, so then you dig up a patch, maybe somewhere where you won't see it so much. Just dig up a little chunk like you're moving sod, get a scoop out. After you get that soil, what is it that you do with these containers?
Okay, so as we move over here to the vinegar and baking soda test, we're going to take this soil, we're going to break it up into little fine pieces here.
And how much are you using, like a 1/2 cup, or is that really?
Yeah, it's about a 1/2 cup of soil. Okay. The amount is not really important. So we're going to pour vinegar into that.
And what will that tell us? What will happen?
So vinegar is the acid, right? If you add the acid, the vinegar, to a soil with a high pH, it would fizz.
Okay.
And we don't see any reaction. That would indicate that the soil is not high in pH.
Okay.
So now we're going to see if the pH in the soil is low.
Okay.
And to test that, we're going to use some water and some baking soda. We're going to do a half a cup of water and a half a cup of baking soda.
And this isn't a souffle, so it's not, you know, perfectly a half cup, but in that general area of water and soda.
Right, right. So we're going to mix those up together. We're going to pour it in here with our soil. We're going to put a lid on there.
Now the first one we didn't have to touch at all. It would have fizzed on its own. This one you shake up.
Right, right.
It looks deliciously like chocolate milk right now.
Yeah, yeah, and we're gonna
no fizz.
we're gonna look for a fizzing reaction again, and again we don't see the fizz.
Now that's not necessarily a bad thing for a
Right,
lawn, is it?
Right. So that would indicate that my pH is pretty good in this area. I don't need to worry about adding a lime to increase the pH or sulfur to decrease it.
Okay. So if you do see that fuzzing, whether the first or the second one, that's when you need to think, maybe I should adjust this a little bit.
Right, right.
Now, Alec, for our last one, it involves dish soap, which really, the brand doesn't matter, but you found out that lemon really works best for this next one, huh?
Right, that's correct. So what we're gonna do here is use some dish soap to scout for insects in the lawn here. And the soap, when you apply it to the lawn, it coats the surface of the insect and irritates them, makes it difficult for them to breathe. And they climb up to the surface to try and get out of the soapy water.
Really?
And it turns out that for whatever reason, the products with lemon scent in them are the most irritating to the insects.
So they'll be miserable, but they'll smell good while they're going through their misery.
Right,
so that's important. Right. So is there a ratio? How do you know how much to put in?
So there is not a ratio, and you cannot kill the grass with the dish soap. So I'm just going to put a good amount in here, enough that when I put it down, I see bubbles.
Okay.
And what I'm looking for is areas with decreased density, areas that are brown or yellow. They don't look right compared to the rest of the lawn.
Okay.
So you're going to identify these symptoms first, and then you're going to come out and see if you can find some of the insects that could be causing these issues.
And this is what will help you do that. You're not suggesting that you put it in a spray bottle and do the whole lawn. You go to the areas that are specifically suspicious.
We did a little bit of scouting earlier. We found
right here.
We found a couple different insects. That is
that one looks like it's just was getting rid of its old parts.
So that actually was the larva that we found. He was entering his pupa stage, and then he was hatching out of his old casing there.
And then there is the adult.
And there's an adult. And this is the common crane fly.
Okay.
So this crane fly lives in the valley here and is not actually a turf pest. The other one, the European crane fly, is the very damaging one.
Okay. So now, Alec, you're holding a different bug. Tell us about this that came out.
That's right. So these are bill bugs. So this is actually a really good time of year to scout for bill bugs.
Okay.
You can scout them and then call a professional to make any applications if you do find high populations of this insect.
Wonderful. Well, you know, a lot of us that have lawns, we love them. We like them to look beautiful. We like to entertain out on them. One of the ways to do that is to use these 4 really easy tips to find out what's going on right underneath that beautiful green lawn of yours. For more information, we invite you to go to gardentime.tv. We'll click you over to this website and get all your questions will be answered. Thank you so much for your time, Alec.
Thank you.